and welcome to this monthly update for Australian rules footballers. Today I'll be discussing everything you need to know when it comes to in-season conditioning, answering some common questions that we've received on social media, such as can you get fitter in season? Can you get faster in season? What are the best conditioning prescription in season to maximize fitness but minimize your fatigue going into games? How can players manage fatigue in season? How does in-season conditioning differ for a rookie compared to a veteran? And what's the latest in sports science trends in Australian rules football? So make sure to stick around. I'm going to answer all those questions plus much more. And if you're tuning in live on TikTok or on YouTube, feel free to send some questions my way, and I'll do my best to answer them. We've also released a new game speed workshop. So it'll be exclusively the only coaching that I'll be doing for this year in 2024, and that's going to run from October through to November. So super excited. It's going to be a new course, mainly focusing on improving footballers' acceleration. So your first three steps, your maximum speed, so your max velocity work, i.e. sprinting, and of course, lateral speed, power cutting, and lots of different change of direction techniques that you can use in your position, whether you'll be a forward, there'll be forward-specific drills, there'll be defender-specific drills, and of course, midfielder-specific drills. So if that interests you, I've created a waiting list questionnaire. You can find that in the show notes. There's only going to be 10 spots open. It's going to go for 2 sessions a week, coached by myself on field, 90 minutes. So we can get not only a good conditioning session in, but also plenty of time of analyzing your technique with video analysis and giving you individual customized feedback. 2 sessions a week, so you make great technical gains, but more importantly, you're getting improved speed and speed endurance, and ultimately how to use that speed in a game scenario. So, like I said, 10 spots available. We're going to make it for 14 years plus, so it can be senior athletes as well as developing athletes. Like I said, field sessions, 2 sessions a week, and that's going to be in the off season from October to November. So if you listen to this and that interests you, make sure to click the waitlist link in the show notes. And I'm looking forward to that game speed workshop. Our next Get Better plan presentation for our footballers on our membership or on our program or working with one of our coaches will be on May 23rd. I'm going to actually, so this is a snippet, today's live chat for the podcast, but I'm going to go in greater detail on this very topic as it's quite a popular one. So in-season conditioning, and provide you guys over Zoom some frameworks and some actual workout examples of where you want to put in the conditioning exercise training in your week leading up to a game. So what does each day look like? Day one after a game, all the way through day before your upcoming game. So if that interests you and you're a member, make sure to stay tuned for the email. I'll send out the Zoom link and I'll go into a little bit more detail on what we're talking about today. Of course, if you're not part of our program and you are interested in joining, we have a 14-day free trial. I'll also have the opportunity to chat with you for 15 minutes about your goals, so also for free. So if you want to jump in my calendar and have a chat about how our services can help you, and you're not sure where to start, is it working with one of our coaches, working on the online program, or more of an individualized, customized program, best place to start is jump on a call in my calendar. The link will also be in the show notes. If you can't find it, just direct message me on Instagram or TikTok and I'll send you the link and we can organize a time to chat about your goals and how you can maximize season 2024. But let's jump straight into it. So can you get fitter in season? This is a great question to kick it off. It is one that will obviously depend on your circumstance. So for example, let's just create a few different scenarios. So for a footballer that didn't get fit enough in preseason and you're starting to get caught out now in games, and now you're thinking, okay, I need to get fitter in season. I'm not able to play my role to what's required, whether it be the coach or for your own standards, and I need to play a little bit of catch up. That can be one scenario. Scenario two, perhaps you got injured in preseason and you've got yourself back to availability of playing, but maybe you're playing in the reserves and you're not in the senior team, so you're still working your way back into game fitness. Or perhaps you're playing in the select team that you're going for, but you're just not playing at a level, and you feel like the repeat high intensity efforts and ultimately running out of game is what's letting you down. That can be scenario 2. So the rehab people that missed a lot of their preseason due to injuries. And then scenario 3, young developing athlete, you're not really doing a long preseason, and you're just looking to maximize your weeks. Perhaps you might be playing 2 football games in a season, in a week, and you've got 2 training sessions. So you've already got a lot of football, plus no doubt you're playing other sports and you've got other physical stresses, whether it be house sport activities or other club sports that are competing and conflicting. So we'll take that into account as well for the younger athletes or parents of younger athletes. So first scenario 1, you didn't put in the preseason work, and now you've realised you've got plenty of weeks ahead of you. How can I get fit? So your thing that you want to take into account the most is majority of footballs, no matter what level, AFL, state league, or community level, you're going to be getting the majority of your Ks that you cover in a week on game day. So roughly, let's say if you cover 10 Ks in a typical game, you're probably doing 2 training sessions a week. One's a bit lighter, maybe it's 3 to 4 Ks, and another session's more your main training session, around 5 to 6, let's say. So that's 50% of your weekly 20K is coming from the game. The other 10 is coming from your football training sessions. So how can we, in a smart and deliberate manner, get some fitness training in that's not going to overload you and cause injury? So if your body's handling those 2 training sessions really well, and you're going into games feeling prepared, you've got plenty of energy, and you feel like you can get a little bit more out, I would advise doing an extra maybe a couple of K on the first session of the week. So the lighter session, which will be for most of you. So let's say you train on Tuesday, Thursdays. Tuesday's that typical 3 to 4K session. Thursday is your 5 to 6. Thursday, we're a couple of days out. Most of you will play on Saturday, so you're a couple of days out from playing. So we know within that 48-hour window, if you overreach yourself too much, that can affect your performance. However, on Tuesday, you've still got plenty of time to recover from that session, not only for the game, but also going into Thursday's session. So you should be recovered. It's 4 days after your previous game. So it's a good window to get some extra training in. If you're typically doing 3 to 4K, I wouldn't suddenly turn that into like an 8K session and spike yourself that way. Just start with adding an extra 1 to 2K of conditioning in. So that might look like some tempo hundreds, for example, which is pretty low stress on the body. So you run 100 meters in 20 to 24 seconds, and you might run that on the minute. So it's typically 1 to 1. Do a couple of sets. So let's say two sets of 10 of that to get you 2K, have 2 minutes rest in between. And you're just going for consistency, really good, efficient reps. Every rep looks the same, and you're getting your heart rate up a lot, but you're getting your heart rate up, but it's not near max. Okay, so it's pretty low stress. You get into training on Thursday, you don't feel like it makes an effect. You still train with high intensity, so you're well prepared for the game. You get good speed, good agility, and good football preparation for your upcoming game. Then from there, after a couple of weeks, you can start to increase the distance. So you might be going from your hundreds to your 200 meter reps and make them a little bit more demanding. So let's say you take 42 to 45 seconds to do that 200 meters, but you only give yourself 15 to 20 seconds rest. And now you're going 2 to 1. So it's increasing the demand of not only the distance that you're covering, but the amount of rest that you have to recover from the effort. So it's more aerobic in nature and a little bit more demanding as well. So your heart rate will no doubt pick up. Keep the volume the same though. So just do 2 sets of 5 and then see how that, monitor how that bleeds into your Thursday session. If you still train with high intensity going into Thursday, ultimately your game is your biggest barometer. So are you still performing at your role and feeling like that extra work that you're doing on Tuesday affecting your performance? If not, then that's when every couple of weeks, I would just make that conditioning session a little bit more demanding, but not changing the extra volume. So you're keeping the volume consistent, that 1 to 2K session. So that's for scenario 1. Scenario 2, if you're injured, I would recommend making the most of the volumes that you're currently doing. Typically, most injuries are happening due to some form of overload or inconsistency in your training, fluctuations of your training, high, low, rather than just that consistency. So we don't want to, if you haven't built a base over pre-season and due to your injuries, it's dangerous to then have a bit of a catch-up mindset because you're now going to be putting yourself in that same position where you're putting yourself at risk of injury again, and then you're back into a hole where you've got to play catch-up again. So ultimately, you will start to get, your match fitness should come after 3 games. So if you're at that stage, we've only played a couple, do exactly the same routine and leave for 3 games to come in. If that's still an issue where you're feeling your fitness is letting you down, then I would do off-feet conditioning in this scenario. So for a rehab athlete, keep the Ks on legs the same. So stick to that, let's say 20 Ks for example, that we did with the last case. I would keep that the same, but early in the week, either on the Monday or the Tuesday, the Monday or the Wednesday, so your off days where you're not training, so it doesn't impact, you're not fatigued going into your football training, so you can still train at a high quality, which is really important. So your Monday or your Wednesday, you do a 60-minute cross-training session. So that might be a spin class, that could be doing some work like a total body circuit, using the rower, doing boxing, anything where your feet staying on the ground, and it's minimal work for your legs. So you're not doing like heaps of squats or lunges and those sort of things. You're certainly not skipping. So you're keeping your feet on the ground. It's minimal leg work. It's more upper body type of work. So that's where, if you're doing a total body circuit challenge your core, challenge yourself with battle ropes, challenge yourself with like dead ball slams, not things like squat jumps and box jumps and those sort of things. The bike and swimming, no worries from a legs point of view. So if you were to do bike training, that fits in that off legs category. And then for scenario 3, for the developing footballer that is still young, is still building your fitness, I would look at trying to make the most of the training that you're currently doing. So if you're already playing 2 games, there's 2 awesome opportunities to increase your work rate. So perhaps investing in a GPS unit. You can buy GPS units now for anywhere between for a couple $100, and that can be a good measure to see what your work rate is per minute, and use the games as your conditioning stimulus. So that way you're still getting that game development, the tactical development, the technical development, which is number 1 at the young developing stage. You're not increasing more time on legs, which kids these days have plenty of that, where, like I said, where they're playing school sports, club sport, maybe rep football, morning training. So we don't want to increase the demand on the legs, but you're just increasing the intensity by measuring their output in games. That could be one strategy. For a child that you think that might be a little bit overwhelming for them by looking at their data, and maybe they're a little bit too young for that, just give them direct feedback on their work rate, and really encourage them to work a little bit harder in training, whether that be just getting some more possessions or helping out their teammates with more defensive actions, however you want to do it. But I would recommend looking at strategies that increase the output in the sessions that they're already currently doing, in the routine sessions they're already currently doing. And if anything, it might mean that they need to actually, from time to time, have some time off to recover, to be able to then allow themselves to get higher intensity in their next session. So maybe they're doing too much. So strip a little bit back at times and see how their output is when you give them maybe a day off legs, for example. So they're the 3 different scenarios. Hopefully a couple of those resonate with you. Can you get faster in season? Obviously, this will depend on where you're at with your journey, but I would like to think if you focus on it and you built up some good speed exposure in pre-season, that you could hit some max velocities, and some of you in the training squad should definitely. Certainly the squads that I've looked after, or the athletes that I train individually or look after their online program, hit max velocities in season because they're tracking it for the first time. So whether you're using a smartwatch, GPS unit, whatever it might be, on your main training session a week, you should be hitting above 90%, every fortnight above 95% max velocity. And you'll find by just simply adding in that measure, what we measure, we tend to improve. So there'll be some PBs that you hit maybe in the game, maybe in training, but by measuring it throughout the year, you'll no doubt hit a new PB. So yes, you can get faster. Hopefully you're also improving the efficiency of your movement as well. So we don't want to just be building a better engine if we haven't got the handling of it. So make sure you're working on your efficient running mechanics when you are sprinting, and you've got a good understanding of what quality backside mechanics are, frontside mechanics, and efficient running feels like and looks like for you. What are the best conditioning prescriptions in season to maximize fitness and fatigue? I think that's where the prescription, yes, but also the plan of your schedule for the week. So making sure that you're not doing a lot of your heavy fitness training at the end of the week. We want to put in the work at the start of the week where we're the furthest away from the game. Typically footballers, where you're looking at heart rate variability or their jump testing, they're pretty well recovered 3 days after a game. So if we're getting some good training stimulus in and some light movement day post of a game, they're not just sitting on the couch, but they're going for like a light walk or water-based recovery, whatever it is, some active recovery. Then day 2, maybe you're getting a bit of a light jog in, or you're doing some light skills, some craft work, so you're getting the body going, you're waking it up. Some strength training we know is really good for upregulating your testosterone, which will help with your recovery. And then 3 days post is where we can start to, we should be recovered by that point. So if you've got a good program in place, you should be close to fully recovered 3 days post. And that's why your main training session should be your second session of the week, so you get good intensity, and that primes you well for the upcoming game. So that's key. Therefore, while you're in that recovery phase, that's where we'll fit in a little bit more of the training, and then we let the intensity take care of the preparation at the back end of the week. So that's where the speed, the power, both in the gym and on the field are key. So stay clear of things that are fatiguing you as you get closer to the game day. How can players manage fatigue in season? That's probably just answered in that question there. So really focus on your recovery day post of a game, and 2 days post of a game. Then we want to get in good, solid, hard training in the gym on day 3. And then as the week gets closer and closer is where we want to increase the speed and the intensity on field. And that is all part of the recovery. So it's not just time and being passive, getting a massage. There's lots of active recovery to get you into that recovery mindset. How does training change from rookies to veterans? I think veterans, we back themselves in. They've got lots of experience. So there should be more of a discussion, two-way sort of conversation. With rookies, we want to be making sure we're exposing them to different methods, getting that feedback so they're thinking about what's best for them. But ultimately, that's where structure is a bit more important for a rookie compared to a veteran. Latest in sports science and trends in AFL. So from a conditioning point of view, that's where we're a lot more individualized these days. So maximal aerobic speed, usually from a 2K time trial, is prescribed over pre-season. That's a little bit less relevant when we're in season because we're not doing as much aerobic conditioning, but hopefully you're still getting some exposures. We can also use obviously the GPS to track what's relevant for their game. So that's something that we're constantly looking at, especially when we're conditioning them over pre-season and we're maintaining their fitness exposures in season. So that's where the bye weeks are really important, and they've got individual game loads that they're trying to hit. So there's a lot of objectivity that's coming into play with their conditioning in the AFL. That's it for this month. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out. It's a topic I'm super passionate about. We've got a couple of blog posts as well, so you can check that out on the website. And I look forward to seeing you guys. We've got our live chat with Shane McCurry coming up in 10 minutes. So hopefully see you there on YouTube. Thank you.